power. Because maybe, just maybe, you're not stuck. You might think you're stuck. Maybe you're just being still. And then that stillness is the strategy that you've been looking for, is the clarity that you've been looking for, and the strength that you have been too busy to notice. You see, we live in a world that praises the grind, that glorifies burnout. But what if your next level can't be found by doing more? But maybe it can be found by being still, just enough to hear what's really calling you. So this session tonight is about reclaiming the pause. It's about owning your rhythm, and remembering that stillness doesn't make you soft. It makes you unshakable. My sound isn't great. Okay, let's see. Right. So for those of you who are new on the call, I'm going to say how it works. So I call numbers, and when I call those numbers, I love responses. And the more your responses come, the more hyped I get, the better session you get. Okay. So this is the first instruction to you. Drop a one in the chat if you are ready to stop running and start realigning. And Andrew was the first in there. Nicola, Cara, Melanie, James, Mandy, Jane, Lisa, I see those ones coming through. Amazing. Now drop a two in the chat if you are open to the idea that your power might be waiting in the quiet. Vanessa, Andrew, Wendy, Danielle, Amanda, Joanna, Nicola, James, Jane, Lisa. Wow, you guys are on fire tonight. You guys are on fire. This is going to be a good section. I can feel it already. So before I go any further, let me formally introduce myself. My name is Michelle Jenny, and I am here to motivate you. So confidence on, doubt off. Let's start. So I am a wife and I am a mother to two beautiful teenage girls. I'm also an identity and performance mentor for women over 35. I'm a serial entrepreneur and an award-winning motivational speaker, but it hasn't always been like this. I used to be shy, withdrawn, awkward, low self-esteem, but now I help others who were just like me to discover their true self and reclaim their identity. Okay, so I will help you shift your mindset, build your self-esteem and your confidence so that you can go on to achieve your goals and build thriving businesses. Now, you can choose to pay attention over the next 30 minutes. That is, of course, your choice. I recommend that you do pay attention, of course. And if you can, minimize your distractions and listen with an open mind. And if you are anything like me, you're going to want to grab a pen and some paper because you are going to want to take notes. And with that being said, let's kick it off with the first point. Now, in a world that is obsessed with constant motion, stillness can sometimes feel like failure. But here's the thing. Stillness is a strategy. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing the right thing at the right time. You see, movement isn't always momentum. Just because you're busy, it doesn't mean you're making progress. Because sometimes the most powerful move you can do is to pause. And that allows you to regroup, to reframe, and to refocus. Because sometimes stillness creates space for clarity. When you're moving constantly, that means you are reacting. But when you are still, it gives you the opportunity to think strategically. Silence and space create room for better decisions and for smarter action. Because action without alignment leads to burnout. That is how so many entrepreneurs burn out. Doing more is not to get you there faster. If you are going in the wrong direction, okay? So stillness gives you the chance to check in with yourself, to maybe ask yourself if what you're doing is actually what matters right now. So let me ask you this. I need you guys to consider this. Are you just moving to feel productive, or are you actually moving with purpose? I want you to consider that because stillness isn't doing nothing, it's doing something powerful with intention. So number one in the chat, if you know you need to start moving with purpose, you need to start, thinking about what you're doing. And I see those ones starting to come in. Melanie, James, Nicola, Danielle, Vanessa, Mandy, Raola. I'm seeing those ones coming in. Dylan, I see you. I see you. Now, we hate waiting, especially us entrepreneurs. We hate waiting. It feels like nothing is happening. But what if the wait is where wisdom lives? You see, the waiting season isn't wasted time. The waiting season is processing time because waiting isn't passive. Waiting is powerful. The wait gives you a bird's eye view, really, to observe, to learn, and to adjust. You don't need to move to make progress. Sometimes the most important shifts are happening internally. When you're always rushing, okay, you can miss an important lesson. Being busy keeps you focused on the next thing, but stillness helps you to extract lessons from what is going on right now. The real upgrade in your life often comes with reflection and not reaction. So what I'm saying here is the waiting can sharpen your decision making because when you allow yourself to pause, you start to notice things. You start to notice patterns, timing, opportunities. And these are things that you might have missed if you were rushing. Okay. So the longer you listen, the longer you stay still, and the longer you listen, the clearer that message gets. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I was getting ready to launch something big. I have a hair care company and I was getting ready to launch something big. It was a new product, right? And I really poured my heart into this product. Now, the formulation was done and I designed the label and everything was ready. But to me, on the inside, something felt off. Something felt off. Nobody else could see what was off. Everybody else thought it was procrastinating, right? But deep down, I kind of felt like it wasn't quite ready for the market. So I didn't launch it. And by not launching, I felt like I was failing. But here's what happened. In that waiting season, I refined the ingredients. I reconnected with my why I was producing my products. And then out of nowhere, I started seeing new ingredients that made my formulation even better. But you see, had I rushed into it, I would have launched a product that was okay, but not amazing. And I would have missed out on that bigger formula, right? And that product, that hair oil, that went on to be one of my biggest sellers. So what I really wanted to say here is sometimes your delay, as frustrating as it is, that is your development, right? That quiet space is where your next level is really being built. Not in what you're doing, but in what you're becoming. So number two in the chat, if you know you might need to stop rushing, you might need to wait just a little bit. You might need to listen. You might need to be still and hear what the universe wants to tell you. And I'm seeing those twos coming in: Cara, Melanie, Jane, Vandana, Nicola, James, Rurala, Darnice, Julia, Dylan, Colin, Lisa, amazing. I'm seeing those twos coming in. Marco, you guys are on fire tonight. You guys are on fire. So rest isn't weakness. It's not indulgent. Rest is strategy. And in a world that glorifies exhaustion, rest is a radical power move because nobody else is resting. But let me tell you this. You cannot pour from an empty brand, an empty business, an empty body, an empty cup. Your creativity, your confidence, and your clarity, they all come from restored energy. Working while empty leads to mediocre results, and nobody wants mediocre results. Nobody wants to be making poor decisions. right? And what happens is you have burnout, you experience burnout, which is masked as dedication. But when you rest, when you take time to rest, it helps you to respond instead of just react. When you are rested, you think clearer. When you're rested, you lead better. When you're rested, you stop making panic moves and start making power plays. You see, every high performer plans for rest. Athletes do it, CEOs do it. And why do they do it? Because rest fuels high performance. So listen, don't wait to be burnt out. Okay, rest so that you can stay in the game longer and you can be stronger. Now, I'm gonna drop a quote on you guys. You know, sometimes I love my quotes. I'm gonna drop a quote on you guys. A good person brings good things out of the good stored up in their heart, right? For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. And what this means is you can only give out what you've got inside of you. If you are depleted, i.e., if you are not rested, you are pouring from an empty place. And for those that are interested, that quote actually came from the book of Luke. Okay, the book of Luke. And listen, let's be fair. Even God rested on the seventh day. So if God rested, in the book of Mark, it says that Jesus rested before he went out to the masses. So if God rested, if Jesus rested, who are you not to rest? So, guys, we need to rest. You understand? Rest isn't the end of the grind. It's the reload button for greatness. The number three in the chat, if you know you need to schedule your rest, if you need to put up some boundaries when it comes to rest, because let me drop a three in this chat because I myself am guilty of that. I don't know if my accountability partner is on here tonight, but she would tell you that when it's time for me to rest, I used to say that rest gives me anxiety. And she would have to tell me, no, Michelle, you need to go and rest. You need to rest because Lisa is right. Resting is healing. Exactly. And I'm seeing those trees. Kelly says, I always feel guilty when I don't work. Exactly. It's the entrepreneur brain in us. We can't shut down because we're passionate about what we do. But if we're not resting, Kelly, if we're not resting, we can't work to the best of our ability. Okay, so we need to rest. We need to rest so that we can reload. And I can see all those trees that just came in. Now, stillness isn't about stopping. Stillness is about tuning in. In the quiet moments, that's when certainty speaks. Okay, when you are still, that's when you start to know. Clarity comes when the noise calms, when everything is loud. So when your phone is going off, when you know you've got the responsibilities of kids or partners, when you're in your doubt, it's hard to hear your inner voice speaking to you. But when you are still, it allows you to quiet the external noise so that you can really connect with your internal clarity, with your gut feelings, okay? Because knowing doesn't come from scrolling on your phone. Knowing comes from silence. We look for answers in more books. We look for answers. We listen to more podcasts. We look for more opinions from people. But sometimes the answer has been within you the entire time. Stillness is how you access that answer because it's in there, it's within you. So stillness gives space for intuition and for alignment. It's in stillness that your best ideas come to you. It's in stillness that you download your next business move. That decision that you've been sitting on, that breakthrough that you have been chasing, it all starts with knowing. And knowing requires space. And space comes from stillness. So I need you guys to affirm to yourself tonight. Write this one down. I don't chase clarity. I create space for it. I'm going to repeat that so you can write it down. I don't chase clarity. I create space for it. Okay, so drop a four in the chat if you know you need to create some space so that your clarity can show up. Melanie, Dilla, Marco, Andrew, I see those fours. I don't chase clarity, I create space for it. Exactly, Danielle, loving it. James, Stella, Nicola, all those fours are coming in fast and furious. I'm loving it. They're still coming. I love it. I love it, man. You guys are tonight. I'm loving this session. Now, you already know this. You guys, you already know this. You are powerful. But your power multiplies when you know when to move and when to wait. There's a difference between being stuck and being still. And there's a difference between pushing with purpose and pushing out of panic. You see, not every slow season is a setback. Some slow seasons are strategic. We live in that go, 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 go mode right now, right? But every peak performer knows you don't sprint the whole race. Well, unless you're Usain Bolt and running the 100, then you can sprint the whole race. But winners pace themselves, okay? Winners pace themselves. You need to pause when clarity is low. You need to push when energy and alignment are high. You see, if your mind is foggy, your heart is heavy, and your spirit is anxious, that's the sign to pause. But when you feel aligned, when you feel clear, when you feel energized, that's your green light. That is when you go all in. You see, you don't need permission. What you need is awareness. Okay? When you trust your own rhythm, you stop chasing everyone else's. So taking a pause is not quitting, just as pushing through is not proven. Okay? Both are powerful. Pausing and pushing, they're both powerful, but they're powerful when they are done with intention. Okay, you just need to know when to pause and when to push. Okay, I used to think that pausing meant that I was falling behind, but every time I pause with purpose, I come back with power. Okay, I had to learn that mastery isn't always in me moving. Sometimes mastery is knowing when not to make the move. Okay, so I need you guys now to drop a 5 in the chat if you know you need to work on when to pause and when to push. Because pausing is just as powerful as pushing forward. And I'm seeing them fives, Vanessa, Julia, Nicola, Stella, Jenny, Mandy, Wurala, Colin, Kara, Danielle, Lisa. Wow, you guys are hot tonight, man. You guys are hotter than me tonight. I'm loving this, Darlene. I'm seeing you come in as well. Now, we don't always stay busy because we're productive. Sometimes we stay busy because we are avoiding something. Sometimes there's a little ghost within us that's chasing us, and that's why we're staying busy because we don't want to acknowledge what's going on. So stillness doesn't just create space. Stillness creates clarity, and clarity reveals what business was hiding. Okay, because business can become a distraction. Business can become a distraction from healing, from truth, from hard decisions. When you are constantly on the go, there's no time to feel, there's no time to process, there's no time to face what needs fixing because motion and movement becomes your mask. But stillness brings up what needs to be dealt with because you have to go through what you grow through. And in stillness, emotions surface, doubts come up, and that's what we don't like. But listen, it's not a bad thing. It's an invitation to heal and to evolve. So you need to feel those feelings. You see, most people are fearing stillness because they fear it themselves. Stillness brings you face to face with your patterns. Stillness brings you face to face with your pain. But know this, stillness is also your power. And when you finally see it clearly, you can transform it. Now, let me be transparent. I mean, I'm always transparent with you guys, but let me be transparent. I never liked the silence. I said it earlier. I often say that when I need to stop, to pause, to rest, to be still, it gives me anxiety. Okay? And what I didn't realize is I was addicted to being busy until I was forced to be silent. And when I was forced to be silent, then I realized what I was running from. And once I faced it, I could heal it. And once I healed it, it made me stronger. It made me more resilient. It grew my confidence. It grew my self-esteem. Okay. And it gave me my purpose and it strengthened my why. And ultimately, facing my fears, facing my silence through my business. So now I no longer fear the quiet. I face it and I rise with it. So don't just sit in the chat. If you know that you need to sit in silence a little bit, you need to face up to your fears. You need to rip off that mask off of your face that's holding you back. And we see Nicola, Deborah, Jane, Martha, Melanie, Andrew, Stella, Terry, Mandy. Well, fear is an illusion. False evidence appearing real, my lovely. That is fair. Exactly. Dylan, James, we were all about that. Man, you guys tonight are on fire in the chat. There's 40 of us on this call tonight, and we are cooking the gas here. So this is the final one I'm going to talk about tonight. Your next move comes after the stillness. You are not behind. You are not off track. You are just in the part of the process where stillness is preparing you for your next move. The move you've been waiting to make, it's on the other side of stillness. So every major leap requires a pause before the push. The most powerful moments in life, the most powerful moments in business often come after you've slowed down enough to see them clearly. Stillness is the space where vision gets downloaded, where strategy gets refined, and where confidence gets recharged. You don't need to force your next move. You need to feel it. Okay? Stillness gives you the ability to feel when the time is right. It connects you with your intuition, your intention, with your gut feelings, okay? You've got gut feelings for a reason. Your next level isn't going to come from panic. Your next level is going to come from precision. And precision only comes when you pause long enough to choose to reflect, not just react. Okay. So the power isn't in rushing towards the next step. And as entrepreneurs, we always want to rush. The power isn't in the rushing. The power is in being still long enough to recognize when it arrives, okay, when your next step arrives. So drop a 7 in the chat. If you know you need to be still so that you can see your next move coming, you can see when your next opportunity is waiting for you. And I'm seeing James, Dylan, Julia, Bandana, Terry, Jane, Marco, Wuraola. I'm seeing those 7s are coming in absolutely amazing. And they're still coming. Angela, Lisa, wow. Right timing is needed. Exactly, Lisa. So important. It needs to be the right time. Mandy, Stella, the 7s are still coming. Wow, wow. Okay. So I always end with a quote. So here it is. So listen, we have been told that we need to be loud. We need to be fast. We always need to be in motion to build something powerful. But the truth is, the deepest breakthroughs, the boldest clarity, the most unshakable confidence, these are forced in quiet moments. Not when everyone is watching, not when everyone is clapping for us, not when we are being rushed. So if you have been in a quiet season, a paused season, a still season, do not resent it. Respect it. Because stillness is where empires are being built in silence. Stillness is where the true bosses remember who they are. Okay, and when you move next, you will not be rushing. You are going to be reigning. Okay, so always remember, stillness is where empires are built in silence. And I know each and every one of you on this call tonight, you are all true bosses. You are all true bosses. So before we sign off, or before I give you your weekly affirmation, for those of you that are new onto the call, I have an exclusive school group. In my school group is where you have all of the replays of all the sessions. We have hours and hours of motivational videos in there to help you on your path. Okay, so the link is going to be in the chat any moment now. Just click on the link and I will, me or my team will approve you later on this evening, later on tonight. So just join there. You've got all kinds of mindset transforming strategies in there. I'm working on new income ideas. You've got a nice community. Completed our 30-day challenge. James smashed that challenge. Oh my gosh, James was amazing. He smashed that 30-day challenge. Like 75 part is going to be no problem for you, James, in September. Strong guy, strong guy. I absolutely love it. I've got quite a few other people in there as well that are still on the challenge. Amazing, Lisa. Good to hear. Bring on September. Bring on September. So this is this week's affirmation. So you know the rules. Screenshot it. Take a screenshot. I want you to read this to yourself every single day in the mirror. If you can, record yourself reading it and then listen back to yourself. Okay. So I no longer fear the pause. I trust the stillness, honor the wait, and move only when alignment meets intention. My power is present, even when I am still. I'm going to drop this weekly affirmation into the school group as well. So if you can't screenshot it or write it fast enough, don't worry, it will be in the school group. Okay, and with that being said, all that is left to be said right now is thank you. Thank you so much for being on. Okay, I've really enjoyed talking to you tonight about being still. Remember, stillness isn't scary, okay? Stillness is sacred. It reveals what motion wanted to hide. All right, so let me know in the school group what were your biggest takeaways from tonight's session. Let me know in the school groups. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and, of course, on school. Oh, you're welcome, guys. Loving having you on. I'm loving all the interaction. Um, if you are on the recording on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. And if you would like to attend this session live, there is going to be a link down below for you to join the school group. Join the school group and you will have access to the live link. Okay, so you can join us. We are here every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Caribbean time, 9 p.m. Qatar time. So every single week, and you can invite anyone onto this call who needs a push to start the week off right. Also, follow me on LinkedIn. Thank you, team, for reminding me. Follow me on LinkedIn. I am growing my LinkedIn presence. So if you're not following me on LinkedIn or if we're not connected on LinkedIn, make sure you click that link as well so that we can connect on there. Let me stop the share and stop the